What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. Hey, want to thank you all for joining us here today, Lions Talk Live Morning Show edition. And as you're probably very aware about, Lions made a whole lot of moves yesterday. A whole lot of things went down for the Detroit Lions. Today, we're going to try to analyze what some of this all means. We may or may not have Anthony from Roar Lions UK join us halfway through the show. He's out on some super secret assignments. We'll see if he gets back in time for the show. But I think we all get it. Lions added a whole lot of draft capital. They got a player of interest. I don't know if he's going to start or not. We're going to break it down and at least give some thoughts on Juice and see if we can cut him loose on this team. Whatever it is, the Lions have made the first bold moves of the offseason. You can have your opinion of one way or the other on it. We're probably all in agreement. It's not going to be the last ones. They are going to make some moves, whether to free up cap, sign some players. It does appear Lions, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell are going to go into this offseason fairly aggressively, and that might mean a few more favorite sons of the Detroit Lions could be on their way out. We'll break this all down during the main top of the day, but anyways, before we get into that, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are one sub away from 16,200. If you can help out with that, that would be great. And then I guess we're 101 from subs away from 16,300. Also, if you have a half second of time, completely free of charge, won't cost you a dime, reach on over, up, down, wherever it is on your perspective screen or device. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more. Thumbs up or likes. Last, never least, if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan where I can personally work for you and help you, or, whatever it may be, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. I'll have a quick conversation, how I can help you out, save you time, hassle, money, the whole shebang-a-bang. Go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. We'll go from there. If you're outside of the state of Michigan, I can still help you out. Just got to do things a little bit differently. But if you want somebody who's going to make sure nobody, sticks their hands in your pockets and robs you blind, you may want to give me a call. It does happen, unfortunately. All right, all that done, settled away. Let's get this show rocking, rolling, G.I. Joe going, and kicking off with 5 headlines up. All right, 5 glorious headlines coming at you. Lions non-tendering restricted free agent defensive end. Detroit Lions on SI by Christian Bower with this one. Maybe you were a little surprised by this move by the Lions late yesterday. Maybe you weren't. What we do know is Tyrese Williams, I actually thought he played pretty well for the Lions. He did end up playing a big defensive end for this team, sort of like Aleem the Dream McNeil. You guys all probably know ad nauseum by now. Dan Campbell expects his defensive lineman to stop the run first, get to the quarterback way later in that scenario. What we can say is Wheat was an addition to the team, had some ups, had some downs, mixed reviews, but he is not going to be a Detroit Lion of the future. Could this mean the team already has some sort of plans to add people, or they believe someone like Ahmed Hassanein's ready to ascend? You can Scooby-Doo and debate that all you want. Until we get through the until we get through the off season, who really knows what they're going to do? I do think most observers agree Lions going to look to add to that defensive line either in free agency or the draft or a combination. If you wanted to say what the game plan was this offseason, it is, in my humble opinion, I think most of you agree, it is to address the offensive line and defensive line, and from there, maybe the secondary and linebacker group. Wheat, not a bad pickup for the Detroit Lions since it didn't really cost you anything other than contract, but his tenure in Detroit, at least as of now, is not going to be in the cards for the future. Wish him well wherever he may land. He was a Detroit Lion, and I thought he did a good job with things. All right, next one here, a bit of a sad story. Jahmyr Gibbs had the saddest post after Dave Montgomery got traded. Larry Brown Sports by Darren Albert with this one. And he knew it was going to happen. The end of Sonic and Knuckles. Yes, that's right. Gibbs took to social media, reached out, and maybe not so much with his words, but did post that it was the ending of an era in the Detroit Lions backfield. I think everybody agrees now that the trade happened. Part of the reason, at least the Detroit Lions did it, was simply to free up some of the salary cap restrictions they were facing in the running back department. What do I mean by that? Gibbs is about to get paid. He's going to get a contract that's going to push him up amongst the upper echelon of NFL running backs. I think most watching this show would agree you love having both those guys on your team. But the downside of it is Dave Montgomery also has a pretty decent contract. Nowhere near what Gibbs is about to get paid. But can the team afford two big paid running backs? It would seem that was not going to be the case. So Gibbs is going to get paid. You offset it by maybe bringing a lower price free agent, maybe a draft pick. My personal opinion, as it sits right now, the Lions are going to replace Dave Montgomery with a draft pick and probably a day 2, more likely a day 3 pick. We'll have to wait and see, unless they think Sion Vaki or Sailors or somebody else already on the team is the heir apparent to Dave Montgomery. Montgomery is a favorite son of this organization, but I would say his departure is going to be a lot like Williams a couple years ago. Jamal Williams was a favorite of Lions fans in the national media, had that moment where Lions beat Rodgers in Green Bay and cried, talking to reporters after the game about how big it meant for the Detroit Lions and the team to get that win. Unfortunately, you have to make business decisions in Detroit, and some of those business decisions means you don't always get to keep everybody. Gibbs, Montgomery, there had been a lot of speculations that maybe there was a shifting in their relationship. We'll probably never know the full extent of that. I think they are good friends. I think it's unfortunate Dave Montgomery had to see a reduced role, and it does sound like from more and more reports he was not exactly excited about that reduced role in Detroit. Why is that? Well, he probably believes he can get one more big contract before his career is done, and he can't do that if he's only getting 20 to 30% of the snaps. He's going to go to the Texans now. He's going to be the featured back, and I think he's probably going to be okay with that. All right, next to 5 glorious headlines now. Lions 3 best options to replace Dave Montgomery after Texans trade. NFL on clutch points by Ben Strauss with this one. Ben Strauss has identified a few options. I think most of us would agree with the options. Could the Lions replace Montgomery with a thumper like Tyler Algier? I think that is a person of interest. My only question is, are you really going to save any cap money by getting this move? And it's debatable, and I guess it comes down to what he gets signed for. I don't think this, in my personal opinion, I don't have any kind of corroborating information to support this nor negate it, but I don't think you're going to sign him or somebody similar to him just because, again, the cap number. If you're trading David Montgomery, yes, you did get a pretty good haul from him, but I believe you're letting teams know you're going to trade him for one simple reason. You want to free up cap space. All right, number 2 option he's got here. Lions could target a running back on day 3 of the NFL draft. This seems more plausible to me. Again, for the salary cap purposes, again, this is a pretty deep draft for running backs. And you guys all know in the last 20 or so years, the running back position is not valued as big as it once was. For those who maybe don't remember the days of the 70s, 80s, you can even say 90s and early 2000s, running backs would go number 1, 2, 3. You know, they would be basically today's wide receivers. That day has passed, and because of it, if you're a running back, you can see some significant talent slip to the middle in late rounds. It would be my personal opinion that's what the Lions are going to do. Last one here from him, Ben Strauss, is Brian Robinson. Could also be a nice fit in Detroit. Again, what's his salary cap going to be? The projection from Sporadics is that he's going to get about a $3.1 million contract. So is that really going to save you anything over Dave Montgomery? Not really, in my opinion, when it's all done with putting Montgomery's contract, what remains of it on the Lions numbers, plus adding a new contract here. It's my full belief. If they don't believe the replacement's in-house, it's going to be a late-round pick. Could be completely wrong, so don't shoot the messenger. I'm just sharing my bold prediction. See if Dan O'Damas supports that sometime in the future. All right, next to the 5 glorious headlines now. NFL Combine standouts for the Detroit Lions. Ailing secondary. Last word on sports by Sue Levine. There's a few people of interest. I don't think anybody discredits that and thinks that it's wrong here, but let's walk through a couple people. One of them is somebody I've talked about, I think, during my first mock draft. Remember, I've had 2, but I would be okay with him right off the bat. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety from Toledo. Hey, I like him because I'm going to round up slightly here and say he's 6'4". He's 6'3" and like 3/4 or something like that. Over 200 pounds, can run, jump. I mean, the kid is just crazy athletic. We don't have a RAS score for him yet, but if you can get him, one of the things I liked about him when I was getting ready for that mock draft, watching him on tape, he has instincts. What do I mean by that? He can sense the play happening before it happens. And great corners, great receivers, great quarterbacks. I mean, just great athletes in the game. They can throw you open. They can run open to the catch. You know, cornerbacks or safeties or defensive players, I should say, are no different. They have that half-second difference where their brain just works a certain way where they can see it happening. In my opinion, he has that as well. So if you can add a rare athlete who's got some size, which you guys all know, I prefer, bigger, faster, stronger. I think this would be a nice pickup here. Dylan Thiesman, the safety out of Oregon, he's a junior. He's great he blends a rare bit of athletic superiorism along with football IQ and a relentless motor. You always want people that you have to self-motivate, that you want people that are going to go out there and just do it on their own, not that you have to always try to pick them up in practice or in a game to get them to get that motor out of them. You get that, you got an absolute gem pick for the Detroit Lions in the humble opinion of me and apparently the reporter here. All right, one more here. We mentioned him yesterday just a little bit because his brother is one of the hottest topics in the NFL Combine / the draft. And it's Lorenzo Styles out of Ohio State, the safety, a junior. You guys get it. This family's got athleticism, and he's no different. Ran the 40-yard dash in 4.27. That's an elite, and I mean elite performance from a safety, especially when you're talking about someone who's over 200 pounds. It's the fastest 40-yard dash time for a safety in more than 20 years. He's got a 39.5-inch vertical, so you know what? You can get up and bat passes. You can take him down. You're talking about also he's 6 foot, 197 pounds. I mean, there's just a lot of upsides to this kid, especially if you do end up getting him for a later round selection. So right there, what do you notice with all of them? They can cover, they can hit, they have instincts. I won't say Styles has as noticeable instincts as the other two guys, but you know what? It's good to have wheels. It's good to have size. You wish he was 6'5" like his brother, but that's not going to happen. You know what? What do you guys think about these 3 options? I like them if you can get them at the right price, of course. All right. Last of the 5 glorious headlines now. As Lions Dan Campbell will 100% love, quote, block of granite, end quote, scouting report for Juice Scruggs. Clutch points Jackson Stone with that one. Man, sounds like an action movie star, Jackson Stone. But yes, the juice is now loose in Detroit. He is here. What do you think about it? We're going to be talking about this a little bit during the main topic today. Could it really impact the Detroit Lions starting lineup for the offensive line? Maybe, I would say is a firm answer. But here's what we do know about the juice. He can play all 3 spots and the interior of the offensive line. He has spent a ton of time in his NFL career, which hasn't been incredibly long. He's played a bunch of snaps at both guard spots. Yes, at the center spot. College, he did the same thing. So if nothing else, do you improve the depth of the Detroit Lions with somebody who brings stability across 3 positions of the interior offensive line? Is he going to beat out somebody to be the starting center? I don't think that seems likely unless he can continue to ascend, which he has improved each of his seasons in the NFL. So here's what we know. Scruggs played a total of snaps of both guards, 194 snaps at right guard, 950 at left guard, and then 568 snaps at center. So that's a pretty good amount of snaps over his career already. there are some players that take 2-3 seasons to really get going before, they take off and ascend in the NFL career. Not everybody comes in and does well their first or second year. This guy's a massive wall. He's got a ton of abilities, but will he be a starter? I doubt it. I think that time or the Lions are going to invest in somebody either in free agency or the draft. That also being said, could he bring some competition to help iron sharpen iron? That seems a lot more likely to me. And again, the Lions run into any injury situations like they've had in the last 2 years. You know what you have? You have a competent backup who can come in and you don't have to worry about. I think this is a strong move that helps the Lions in the here and the future. We also want to pay attention to the fact that the Texans did not want to give him up. Texans originally, their offer was lower, and this is from multiple different reports. But something happened late yesterday before the draft became finalized that caused the Texans to say, "No, we'll give you more." It would be my opinion. That means the Lions were negotiating, or Brad Holmes was negotiating with other teams. Somebody else upped their offer. You went back to the Texans, said, "Hey, if you don't, do this, we're going there." So the Texans had to make, a business decision and say, "Hey, you've got an offer that supersedes ours. We'll go ahead and give you this, that, and the other thing." Lions got a 4th, a 7th, and a player of interest who, to be honest, is very versatile. And again, I won't say that I think the Lions got a starter out of him. I hope it happens that he's a starter, that he's that good, but that doesn't seem likely. But he did get 3 solid pieces in return. Dave Montgomery, wish him well. You freed up cap. I think Brad Holmes hit the cover off the ball with this one. Let's get over to the main topic of the day and see what you guys have to say about all this, and maybe just a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, main topic of the day. By the way, I'd be remiss if I forget to do this for the second day in the row. If you're considering, renegotiating your mortgage, basically trying to get a refi on it or just looking to get a mortgage, go ahead. That's right. We have our first official sponsor on today's show. You can call the number on your screen and use promo code Lions Talk to save. Go talk to Mighty Mike Stewart at Advanced Lending Solutions. He'll hook you up and give you one heck of a deal. Nationwide, nobody scans more than what you're going to have Mike do. He's not a local bank. He operates across the country so he can get you the best deal possible. If you're looking to refi or purchase home, use that promo code Lions Talk. All right, getting to the main topic of the day. Never thought I'd have a sponsor, man, or sponsors. We've had other sponsors in the past. Based on yesterday's information, though, with the Detroit Lions, what do you guys now think about this offseason? We've been hearing for months that Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell were going to free up money, restructure deals, free up this space, that space to go after signing people. Now you've got some of the first dominoes falling with Graham Glasgow being cut. I don't think anybody was shocked by that. Did he play well last year? I mean, he had moments where I thought he played okay. Here's the thought. Do you think Scruggs is better than Graham Glasgow? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But you did free up a few, $6 million yesterday between that. Now you add on the savings, Dave Montgomery. That's going to push you close to about $10 million. I think there's some chance it could be $11 million, but somewhere in that range. Now you've added some more draft capital. You're talking about draft capital? Let's review the draft capital of the Detroit Lions. All right, round 1, obviously we got pick 17. Round 2, pick 50. Round 4 now, look at that. You got 119 and 128. Hey, how about that? Lions also are projected to get another compensation 4th round pick. Let's go on to the next rounds here. Round 5, 155 and 180. Round 6, 187 and 204. And then round 7, I think we're going to get another one here too at 220. So Lions have some draft capital. You all know they have a bunch of ability to now free up even more space if they want to. Where do you think they go from here? Could Brad Holmes be ready to make some additional roster adjustments? And I don't mean trades. I don't mean I don't mean adding people here, there, wherever. Could they cut some more dead weight? We all know we've got some unrestricted free agents like Alex Anzalone, etc. Do you now try to bring some of these guys back? If you are Brad Holmes this morning, what do you think is your next bold move? We have heard all sorts of whispers, rumors that the Lions were potentially going to, prior to the Terrion Arnold situation, make a move to, get Maxx Crosby. Do I think that's going to happen? I mean, I'll just say I try to use trends, and we haven't seen Brad Holmes make a move like that in the past. But if the rumors are true that Terrion Arnold situation gets resolved, the Lions don't have to move off him, could they actually make a move to go get this dude? Would you make the move to go get this dude? I have been talking to you guys for a while that I would not, for first-round picks, pick up Maxx Crosby. I just don't think he's worth it, in my opinion. I like his ability to get the quarterback. I don't think he fits in with what Dan Campbell wants to do as far as stopping the run. That's my opinion. I know it's not a popular opinion with a lot of viewers. My view is this: if you could get him for maybe a second and fourth, I probably would go for it. If you're going to ask me to throw in Jameson Williams or Ali McNeil, I'm probably saying, hey, you have a great day. And yes, the camera did. There we go. But what do you guys think? Where do Brad and Dan take us from here? I do believe this is going to be a very active offseason. I do believe they're going to make some more moves before the draft. I do believe they're going to either trade up in the draft and not maybe in the first round, but I could see round, say, 3, trading up some of those fourth-round picks to get a third-round pick, stuff like that. I've also gone on record, and I know a lot of you guys have pointed this out, and I think you've got some great ideas on it. The Lions could potentially move up from pick 17 to like 15 or 13 or something like that. I think the Brad Holmes has shown in the past he's always on the phones. I know Lions fans, we get tired of hearing, hey, they talk to this guy about trade or that guy about the trade. But just remember, about a day or two ago, the news came out from Jeremy Fowler that Dave Montgomery wanted out of Detroit. There were a whole lot of people said, man, we've heard this before. It's never going to happen. But then what did happen? They made the move. So, yes, we did pick up juice. We did pick up some draft picks. What's the next move to fall? And that's the big burning question, talking to a lot of people in Detroit media yesterday and even this morning. The reports are from some of the people I still chat with in Detroit-based media. They think Brad Holmes is on the phones, this week trying to make some additional moves. And it does probably mean giving up some draft capital. Nobody seems to think the Lions are going to just trade away some other players. I mean, there's nobody that really jumps out that, yeah, we're going to get rid of this guy. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. But there is a sense in the Detroit Lions news media that, yes, the Brad Holmes is going to try to make some trades leading into the draft, when it's probably going to be multifaceted, maybe moving up in the draft or to pick up some veterans. And again, could it be Maxx Crosby? Sure. Anything's possible. Could it be Timbuktu? That is also possible. All right, I've thrown a whole lot of information at you guys this morning. Again, I don't know if 8 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now or whatever, if Anthony from Roar of the Lions UK is going to be able to join us. I know he's scrambling to try to help get over to us. But again, he's working and doing some stuff today, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's get up to you guys and see what you guys have to say about all this and maybe just a little bit more. So let me keep scrolling. Here we go. Rob, good morning, everyone. Exclamation point. Who's gone today? We'll find out, man. But Brad Holmes, he's out here running business. He's like Don Corleone. He's sending you out, here out. Everybody's out. As well, no more Graham Glasgow and Mountie. Yeah, Glasgow, I get it. He's a warrior. He gave you everything he could and during 2 different tours with the Lions. But that body, I think, man, he needs to rest it and just focus on life at this point. Monty, I get it, man. You want to go be a starting running back so you can try to secure one more big contract for your career. God bless you, man. I've got nothing bad to say about the guy. Gary, morning, everyone. Same to you. Dennis, greetings, salutations, Lions fans. Exclamation point. Looks like Brad is not sitting on his hands this week. I would agree. Change is a processor. Man, I can't talk right now. To improvement. Go Lions. We'll just say I agree with that. Yes. Better go get a veteran offensive lineman. I think they're going to. I think in free agency they're going to. Is it going to be Linderbaum or somebody else? We'll find out. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. I've been trying to watch the Blood Moon, and it's too cloudy. Exclamation point. Kind of like the future with the Lions free agent draft situation. Woo! Yes, doesn't mean we can't maybe get wise people to foresee the future. Maybe we'll get a guest host at some point from Dan O'Damas. Xavier, greetings, salutations, Dan and the mighty Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Good morning to everyone, and I hope everyone has a blessed day. Go Lions. Woo! Same to you. Same old soup. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Like number 1. Hey, I like that one. Art, it's never fun watching well-liked players leave the team. But in the NFL, players come and go. It is what it is sometimes. Yeah, it's a business. If we could keep everybody we love, Sue would have never left the building. Stafford would have never left the building. And, to me, man, Eric Kramer would have never left the building. But you guys get it. Sometimes you got to make business decisions. Jen, good morning. All exclamation point. No more D Money and Glasgow. I bet TA is sweating it out. I'm guessing we'll have more information about him within the next 2 to 3 weeks, just as the legal process reveals itself. I don't want to dive into it too much, not that you're asking me to, Jen, just because we don't know anything new. And until the legal ramifications are better known or not known, then we'll just wait and see. That's why Brad drafted Frazier and Ratledge to be replacements. I agree. Yeah, Lions were a little forward thinking there. And now, hey, could the juice be something? If nothing else, I think he's going to bring a lot of stability to the backup positions and a lot of flexibility. Moonscar Blade, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Early clips time. Yeah, early clips of my heart. Jen, I have to start work again early. Great content, everyone. Hey, we love you being here, and thanks for all you do for the channel. Attila, looks like Brad Holmes is taking a page out of Seattle's playbook this offseason. Change is great when it leads to improvement! Exclamation point. Hey, I think you're fully right with that. Dennis, enjoy. Jen, Attila, Lions got too comfortable. I think Brad and Dan have to shake things up. Maybe they are shaking them up. As remember, Pistons 2004 championship team lost Carlos and Mike James like following year. Yes, they did. And you know what? Hey, those are some going back to work days for them. All right, Conan, 48 hours ago, a lot of people said that Monty trade whispers were fake, not going to happen, whatever. Now those people are silent. This is true. This is what I just try to say when news like that comes out. I don't fully dismiss it because somebody may know something. Jeremy Fowler clearly, in hindsight, knew a whole lot about it. And we'd heard enough stuff about it, leading into his report that I thought there was some level of validity to it. I also said when you look at D. Monty's response to it, that thankfully a lot of you guys were able to share while we were live on air. He doesn't say it's not true. He didn't say, nah, this is completely false, vehemently denying it. He just said, did you see it, hear it from me? And I guess we could all say at this point, maybe he didn't hear from him, but he probably knew something. Jeremy Fowler knew something. Gary, glad you can see it. Yes, 100% with an exclamation point. Jen, thank you. Dennis, Rob Hark, I will listen to the car today. Have a great day, everyone. Woo! Exclamation point. Go Lions. Have a phenomenal day, my friend. Amy, good morning, Coach Dan and our amazing Duke crew. Exclamation point. Well, sir, stir. What's next? Everyone have a great day and go Lions. And may you have a blessed day. Xavier, that was sad to see D. Monty go because he was a nice 1-2 punch for the offense. I agree with that with an exclamation point. I hope he finds a good running back to replace him. I think we will, man. I think there are some good options there. All right, Big Eddie, I think the issue is, Conan, that we hear the topics like that often, so we just get overhearing it. Wish Monty well. Me too. Attila, only if Rashid wouldn't have left Big Shot Bob open for that three. I was there at that game when it happened, man. Yeah, you could hear the shush in the crowd. As Detroit Lions are eclipsed, okay. Attila, I like the Linderbaum rumblings about not being happy with his cheap offer from Baltimore. Rather have McGovern, though, if it saves them another $5 million to get another player. Yeah, could be where they go. We'll have to see in obviously the next few weeks. Jess, I am now expecting way more out of our offseason. We've added picks and freed up cap. We did both. Let's see, Rock, good morning, Duke Crew. It seems so far the Lions are doing what we expect them to do. Hey, I see what you did there with the do. See, David, can we even afford Linderbaum, Attila? If we want to free up a bunch of money, rework some contracts, I think it's a yes. Attila, this is just the start. A fraction what needs to be done. I concur. Yes, David, once golf restructured. Trey, what's going to be a question mark? Scrambling to get ready for work. So mostly just going to ear hustle. Enjoy the hustle. Xavier, we got to get someone from free agency if Brad wants to keep his job. I think they'll try to do just that. Bo, Attila, every journey begins with that first step. You're not wrong. France, Laporta gets traded before the draft. I think there are some rumors about that. I know we had a show about it last week. We'll see, man. That's all I can say is we'll see. Henry Morris Sr., good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! Attila, Brad Holmes and Dan know the next 20 steps, and they are planning or thinking of. We can only guess as fans. Yes, correct with that. Kerry, if you try sometimes, you get what you need. Hey, I feel like that's a song. Drake, France, yeah, I can see that. And Lions drafts order, safety, corner, running back, top. All right, we'll go with the top then. Southwest, all people talking about clickbait. Monty gone. I knew it. Said it from the start. They failed him. Ben Johnson ran them both perfectly. These idiots blew it. Now he's gone. He is gone indeed. Surprised the Bears didn't try to get him. David, I find in life if you have no goals, you can never miss a target, and that feels great. I feel like that's from a movie. Coach Rock, so with Laporta, who do you trade a guy with a bad back injury to? The requiring team would obviously have to, their medical staff would have to give the clearance to it. Most players do have some sort of back injury, especially if they take hits often, so it's not uncommon. Southwest, Brandoms don't hit on those picks. The team will look like idiots, and he's on the hot seat. I think he's already on the hot seat. As 7-10 season for Lions coming. This joking at least 10 wins. I agree with you there. All right, I see he's warmed up. He's on deck. He's made it all the way over. He swam across the pond to get here. Let's go get over to our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him. Hey, let's get over to Anthony from Roar the Lions UK. If I hit that button. Anthony, we got a whole lot of breaking news from yesterday. News shaking and baking. If you're the Detroit Lions, how are you feeling this morning?
I mean, it's the start of a very long offseason. When the combine's done, that's when all the serious business starts. You've got 6 days till legal tampering begins now when you start handing out all your free agency deals. So you've got to make decisions on everybody, and everyone who's sort of got a question mark hanging over their head. You're probably going to hear about it this week. So, yeah, I think they'll be happy enough with the first day of work. Obviously, Graham was never going to be here next year, and they're going to get some. They've got some good picks for Monty as well. So I think they'll be quite happy about it. Me, obviously, trades work in different ways. There's when the trade happens, and of course, you can never judge a trade till all the picks have been made, all the ramifications from the picks have been done. It can take 2-3 years for these things to work out, but initially, the day after is when it sort of sinks in. And I don't like us trading away Monty. I really don't. But it is what it is. We're in a win now window, and obviously when you're in win now, you don't want to let pieces go. You want to add and you want to get better rather than be sort of replacing guys. And I think people are really underestimating what Demo brought to this team and how it's not going to be that easy to just replace him with a day 3 pick or something like that. He's consistent. He's durable. Like, durability amongst running backs is so rare nowadays. Like, if Jahmyr Gibbs goes down, you still have a running back 1 on the roster who can do running back 1 work for you. He's good in his pass protection as well, and he's a culture fit here. And, finding a guy, particularly if it's going to be a rookie, who is going to have the ability that Demo did, durability that Demo did, the leadership that Demo did, is going to be difficult. And, you don't want to create more holes for yourself going into a draft where you've got a lot of holes to fill already. So, the day after, I'm still smarting. I don't like it, but again, we see what happens with the trade in the long term. In a few years' time, we may look on it more favorably.
If you are the Detroit Lions, this brings up, like you already pointed out, Anthony, you traded away one of your premier pieces. What do you do to put a comparable replacement on the team? Because you can't put everything on Gibbs, I would think. You don't want to overuse him. So how do you best address this? Free agency? Do you think they do it in the draft? How would you do it?
Well, yeah, I even forgot to mention that. Like the whole point of Demo is he's why Gibbs has flourished, because you've been able to, for the majority of his career, to work in a rotation with him. Obviously, Gibbs' production went down this year because he got more of the carries overall. His rushing yards went down. Right. So I think if you're the Lions, you've got to attack both. I think you need to try and bring a veteran in who's a bit savvy in the league, whose pass protection might be at a bit of a better level than, because a lot of rookie running backs who come into the league, their blocking is not very good. Like, we've been running back 1s for years wherever they're at. They've got the primo carries. They've been the top dog. They've not really had to do the dirty nitty-gritty work that guys are required to. So the blocking is usually substandard when they come up. So ideally, you want free agency. You want to bring in a guy who will give you a good third down option in terms of his pass protection, and can also do work on the ground as well. But then you want to set Young at the position again as well, because you're going to be paying Jahmyr Gibbs $20+ million a year, and you don't really want to have much more money invested in the running back room than that. Caps are tight. We're in a win now window. We need to spend as much resources as we can on our trenches, make sure they're good. So you want a rookie contract on there as well, potentially. Try and find a savvy vet who doesn't cost too much, but reset at the position as well in the draft. I think you've got to really do both. because there's no depth left on the team anymore either. You've got to reset that room entirely now. So I would do both.
Do you think there's any chance, say, Sion Vaki, Sailors, or somebody else who's already on the team kind of steps up and takes a role, or do you think that's not a possibility?
Varky's not a Monty-style running back, and he's not durable enough to hold up in good pass protection. Like, I don't think so. I mean, for Varky, and I know a lot of people talk about Varky, like Varky can do it. You're elevating whoever's going to be running back 2 here needs to be on a full time. Monty got like 170 carries last year, so even on a Bart year, and that's if Gibbs is healthy all year, you're going to have to be able to take upwards of 200 carries and more to be able to contribute your part to the team. Varky's done nothing for us as a running back yet, and then you're suddenly just asking him to come in and take on a role that's going to take 150, 200 touches. It's just not it's not fair on him. He needs to prove that he can work in the rotation first, even can at least do something for us and then get that promotion. And Sawyers hasn't really held that much before. Obviously, he has his return ability in that, but for me, you're looking at them as depth parts. You want a guy who's going to be able to do the volume because you've still got to work in tandem with Gibbs and you've still got to be able to have a lot of carries on there. So, and, I don't trust Varky's durability just yet. That's something he's going to have to prove next year. And again, we're in a win now window, so no, I don't really want to put these development guys in much more important positions. They can be depth and they can work their way into the system. Varky just needs to be a rotational running back before we start talking about him as the major backup. Like, you don't want to be going into a Super Bowl season with him as your running back too, with no due disrespect.
Yesterday when he made the pickup for this guy, part of the trade, Juice, I'm sure most fans were thinking, hey, this means it's probably the end for Glasgow. But have you had any opportunity to really look at Juice and see what he may or may not bring to the team?
I remember when Juice came out of college, like he was a development project then. It was just he was very highly athletic and he got took in the second round for that. But I don't know. I think there's something to work there with him. People just look at PFF grades nowadays. That's all they do, and then they judge a guy on his PFF grades. His PFF grades are not good, but you also have to take into account his rookie year. He starts halfway through the year, goes all the way up to the divisional round in the playoffs as a left guard, just settles into the left guard spot, and then in year 2, they put him at center, they put him at left guard, they put him at right guard on, let's be honest, is a pretty rubbish offensive line with not many good players on there. They've not developed many players there for their offensive line. I would believe coaching is a part of the reason he's not taking his step forward, but he's just been moved here, there, and everywhere. It's tough for a rookie to be a starter and to be just said, right, you're playing center this week, you're playing left guard this week, you're playing right guard next week. It doesn't allow for continuity. It doesn't allow a player to get settled. It doesn't allow a player to excel at his craft when he's asked to do something different every single week. So when I take into account the coaching in there is not very good and that he's been messed around with his positions, I think if the Lions take him, he's under far superior coaching here. And if they just insert him in that left guard battle with Mahogany and Frazier and let them all fight it out, give him a home, let him gain some consistency in what he does, then potentially there's something there. Is he a day one starter? No, of course he isn't. He is a backup, but we need a left guard. No one's laid claim to it yet, and I'm quite happy for them to put as many bodies in there as possible to fight for it, and may the best man win. So I'm not going to write him off because of mediocre PFF grades. I think there are extenuating circumstances with him. Again, not saying he's going to be the next Kevin Zeitler, but potentially he could be something for us. At worst, he could be some potential good depth for us. Now you've got Frazier, Mahogany, and Scruggs there. That's some good interior O-line depth now, and they're not under the pressure of being a starter all the time. We can sort of sit and develop them and plug and play them as we need to. So, I remain to be seen, but I'm not going to write him off like some people have.
When you look at the Detroit Lions now, they've got a few 4th round selections now. Sounds like they may even pick up one more, like a compensatory one. We don't have a 3rd round pick. I think we all get that. But you look at what Brad Holmes has done in the past, what he's confirmed, he's tried to pull off, some of the moves he has pulled off. You had to guess now, just a couple weeks before free agency and, was it 2 months until the draft? What do you think are some of the next potential moves by this organization?
Well, you've got a ton of day 3 picks now at your disposal. You've got a couple of 4ths. you've got a fifth. You're likely going to pick up. Well, you're potentially going to pick up another fifth from the comp committee. You've got 3 sixths. You've got a seventh. For me, what that allows you to do now is you've got to hit the trade market before free agency. You saw yesterday, Browns got themselves a new starting right tackle with a 5th round pick. This is the point where everyone's trying to get under the cap, and guys who haven't got a future. There's lots of guys who are going to be caught and traded. I think now you've got a lot of potential to go out there, use some of, because all these day 3 picks are not going to make our roster next year. It's going to be very tough to make our roster full stop. So you don't really want to go into the draft with like 8 day 3 picks. So you start using them to bring in some established veteran talent to fill in some of the holes we have before free agency starts. And then you can go into free agency and do your thing. And then when you get to the draft, as you say, you do have the potential now to go up into round 3 if you want to. You don't necessarily have to trade down anymore. 4 picks in the top 130 is not a bad thing for us. You would expect all them to make the roster and then just sort of work with what you've got after that. So I would like to see some of these day 3 picks used in the trade market. And because, again, we've got a lot of areas we need to fill. And we need some veterans bought in and get them before they hit free agency. Do it sensibly the way some of the teams are doing. So that's what I'd like to see them do with them. I'd like to see them be active in the trade market before free agency. Not just sit there and try and use them for the draft.
If you had to run, Anthony, your perfect offseason at this point, let's say you could add 2 free agents, impact free agents, who would you try to add or what positions? And now how would you then attack the draft?
I mean, you want to add a center in free agency for sure. That's the main thing now. Get your center in. You want your edge 2 in the building as well through free agency or trade. That's ideally what I'd do. I'd get my center, I get my edge, and then that means I can go into the draft and attack that as need be. It doesn't mean you don't still get an edge in the draft. You've got to get younger at the position. Outside of Hassanin, who is, remains to be seen, you've got no development edges coming through the system at the moment anymore. You always want to have these development guys coming through and young. And if you've got 2 good edges, you can take an edge maybe a little later in the draft, develop him up, get him ready to go. And then you sort your tackle situation for the long term as well. I don't know how I'd do it right now. There's several trains of thought. You could go for a guy like Caden Proctor in the draft, slot him in at guard for a year, and then move him over when Taylor's done. I don't like the idea of using 17 on a tackle who's not going to be a starter next year. I think 17's got to be a starter this year. So I would be attacking the defensive line with that 17 pick. And then I'd sort out my secondary after that. Try and get depth in there as well. See, because again, there's a lot we don't know about yet. Depending on Kirby's injury, right. Depending on that, there's still a lot up in the air as to how we do it. But yeah, center and edge in free agency, and then I can sort of attack the draft a little more liberally, put the best players in this team. But the focus is on the D-line and the O-line, absolutely, for sure. And probably safety after that.
Lions have some questions this offseason. We all know about the Terrion Arnold situation. There's been all sorts of speculation this way, that way about where the team may go leading into it. We did hear reports that suggested if the TA situation didn't happen, the Lions are going to be aggressive and try to get this man, Maxx Crosby. I don't know whether or not to believe it or not. I can only tell you that it's a rumor out there. At the end of the day, what do you think about the TA situation? And do you think the Lions legitimately were going to try to go get Crosby or somebody else?
In regards to TA, I don't like to say anything until I know the facts. Right now, this is speculation. I don't like to speculate on players. Everybody went in after JMO, after his arrest for the gun stuff, and everyone was saying JMO's a cancer, JMO should be off the team. All the JMO haters came out and put in a massive smear campaign against him, and then shock horror, it was nothing, and shock horror, he's a great player on this team now, and nobody would get rid of him. I don't want to do the same because it's just conflicting stuff with Terrion. I get why people are mad at Terrion. This is the whole anti-Brad Holmes brigade. They're looking for a first-round pick to attack because they want to attack his ability at the top of the draft. That's why Rake Straw gets a lot of hate as well. That 2024 class, people are going on it to say Brad's not that good. We told you he's not that good. There's an agenda here behind a lot of people attacking it as well. So I don't really want to say anything about it until I know more from it, because, we could be really wrong. And quite frankly, all of us know nothing apart from what people say in the news. In regards to has it affected their strategy with Maxx, I think that's a load of bull. You've got to give up pick 17 for Maxx this year as a bare minimum. You look at your draft capital this year, what have you got? You've got 17 and 50. And then you're not picking again till basically 120. Do you really think in this year, when they have that many holes on the team in terms of their trenches and depth around, we're going to give away all that and we're going to have one pick in the top 120 of the draft? That doesn't, to me, that doesn't work. We need better players. We need more picks at the top to be able to plug and play more holes with better guys. For the sake of Maxx, and don't get me wrong, having Maxx here would be fantastic. You got the best edge rushing tandem in the NFL for sure. But with what you'll have to give up this year, they are completely rinsing themselves of any draft capital. You would have to trade back from 50 to try and get some. And then who knows when you're picking? You're not picking till 60. You're not picking till 70. We've got to keep the rookie talent going in the team. So for me, I would be skeptical. Because, I mean, what can they not use now that they could when they thought Terrion was going to be on the team?
Fair question, man.
If you're giving up for Maxx, you're giving away 17, so it doesn't really matter. You're going to pick a corner at 50, so you're going to ignore tackle, you're going to ignore edge, you're going to ignore defensive tackle. Again, you see what I mean? We don't have the capital for this to be an issue anyhow, no matter what goes on with Terrion.
All right, Anthony, I want to thank you as always for all your time, your efforts, your ability to come on over and help talk about the Lions with the Duke Crew. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out? Tell everybody about you, where they can find you, support your great content, and all things you do.
Yeah, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. So if you want to come and get your Lions news and views from a British perspective, please come and check us out. We're live on Mondays. I do a college football show on Wednesdays. So if you like your college ball, come check that out. And then we usually do a Q&A on the weekends and bits. So you've got plenty of opportunities to come find us. So as I say, Roar of the Lions UK, you can find me there. Thank you, Dan, as always. Thank you, Duke Crew. Appreciate you all. And if my Facebook is right today, it said it's Bo Boo's birthday. I believe he's on this stream and he does comment in here. So if you see this, Bo, happy birthday to you. Hopefully you have a great day. But yeah, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Anytime, my friend. Have a great one, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you on the next one. Bye-bye.
We'll see you, Anthony. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Let's get back to the Duke Crew comment section. I'll try to get on as many people as I can. T. Martinez, what do you got? Funny quote, Lions make blockbuster trade? Nope. All right. Pickback fan, Lions Talk Live with sponsorship, big time. Hey, we'll see, man. We'll see. Let's see, Don Kong, offseason has barely started. You're not wrong there. Thomas, sorry, guys, but do not be surprised if Gibbs' numbers go down. Exclamation point. We overuse this young man, gets injured, then what? Question mark. Better get serious on the quality backup. I'm guessing they'll probably try to address that. Martinez, Texas won the trade. We'll find out. Don Burr, Ed Silver, has been the most opposite of the truth post ever. Isaiah Pacheco is probably one of the most hardest runners in the NFL. Exclamation point. He runs hard, actually, sometimes. All right. JK, that was not a splash trade. It was a normal trade. All right. Fair enough. Let's see. Resurrection season. Why are we paying Lee McGill so much? Question mark with an exclamation point. Anything we can do about getting out of that massive contract? You can cut him, I guess, and then just eat the dead cap for a little bit. Motown Mitch won't overuse Gibbs. Lions will get another back. Quit crying. Old, worn out backs are a dime a dozen. It could be a lot of level of truth to that. Pierce, Denver, after yesterday's moves, how much over the cap are we still? We'll have to find out. Detroit Sports Talk. Are the Lions 100% sure going to restructure? I'm on Ross St. Brown, Panay Sewell, Jared Goff. It is 100% sure they're going to restructure these contracts. Nothing's 100% until it happens. I guess I would just say that. Coach Rock, you can predict who won the trade before anything is even done with the draft picks. I can't. No, I don't know who the draft picks are going to be, nor how they're going to perform, so I can't really tell you who won or lost. Yada, yada, badass. Man, been a minute since we've seen you. I don't agree with the trade at all. I'm not even going to lie. I was kind of upset off, but I understand why it had to happen. This 100% on Dan Campbell. Could be true. Dong Kong, very low normal trade. Martinez, Thomas Donner, good point. Exclamation point, excellent trade, says Motel Mitch. Cade, Max, yes. JK, Was going to say decent trade, but now, yeah, let's see. Don Burr, I think like 12 million. Pierce, Detroit Sports Talk. Could we also extend Sewell this offseason to further offset the money? Might be a possibility. Big M, Queen Mary, I hope so, Mary. You are an intelligent Lions fan and a sweetheart. Wishing you a wonderful Tuesday. God bless. Well said indeed. Pierce, Don Burr, even after saving roughly $10 million yesterday or $12 million without the release of Glasgow and Monty trade. We'll find out. Yeah, I'm sure most places will have updated numbers, I'd say by tomorrow. JK, draft picks A+ though. All right. Pierce, Don Burr. I also think Sewell signs contract for 3 next off seasons to further kick money down the road. That could be. JK Getting. Well, tell Mitch, I'm just glad Lions absolutely robbed the Texans. I thought they got a pretty good haul. Although until you know what you got in the draft picks, you don't know, right? Jeff, what do you got? Crosby has one of the top 3 run grades at the defense end. He fits perfectly. Thank you for that. Let's see, Queen Mary, thank you, Big M, with some hearts. Don Burr. Pierce, I don't think they saved actually $10 million according to Over the Cap. Detroit Sports Talk. Nick Singleton, I hope, is a Lion. We'll find out. Dunkon, everyone should have known D-Mont was being traded. A lot of people say, I had different opinions on it. We'll go there. Pierce, Don Burr. Glasgow saved $5.5 million, and Monty saved roughly $3.5 million. We'll see. Resurrection season. The picks are what matters. Juice is just an add-on. Yeah, good, probably if nothing else, depth piece across multiple different positions. Phil, could Lions possibly move off Decker? Yes, I think they could. If the right things fall in place in free agency or the draft or somebody ascends, could they cut Decker? Yeah, I think they could. Thomas, draft capital, exclamation point, question mark, a bunch of late round picks. Trade all my late round picks for a third round pick. All that later on draft capital picks. That's just silly talk. Well, tell that to Tom Brady. Let's see, T. Martinez. JK agreed. Just a mid-trade. All right. Dre Dade. Pierce. Sporadic has us at $3.7 million over the cap. All right. Coach Rock, you sometimes have to trade value to get value. So a big trade worth it? Just wondering. We'll find out if it's worth it in the end here. Number Pierce. Face value, we did, but digging into it, I think it's less after the NFL knickknacks. All right, Pierce, Dre Day. I was wondering how close to even those 2 moves got us. We'll find out. Mitch, how it mid Lions got rid of a lot old, lost a few, step back for a starting offensive lineman and 2 picks. That was a huge win. I'll take that. Kim. Those later on picks can be used to trade up. Need to look at bigger picture. Yes, look at the bigger picture. JK, yeah, Martin, okay, Pierce, Domberg, gotcha, Silver Server. Lions are in the hunt for an offensive tackle. I believe they'll try to do that in the draft. That could be. Martinez, cool, exclamation point. UK guy coming on today, maybe? Anthony, yes, he was on today. Pierce, Silver Server, I want to tackle at 17, sit behind Decker for a year, and spot starter duty for when Decker will get hurt. Queen Mary, no, it's not Rocky. Just got to seen all on the front page of breaking news. Let's see, Joseph. Sometimes you have to trade to win a Super Bowl, and you got to go outside your normal. I concur with that. The only thing is you got to, you're not a pro coach. It's win now. Yes, we'll go with that. Win now. Pierce, Don Burr. Another thing, I wanted your take on Laporta, rumors, smoke, or something to them. I think there could be something to them. Again, I'm only basing on that what happened with TJ Hawkinson. All right, I'm going to start looking through for people who haven't been on as much just because we're running out of time. John Doe, are we going to get Maxx Crosby? I don't think so. Been wrong before. Phil, Lions been through many running backs since Dan and Brad. Not sure why there is this much faith in one guy Gibbs. I think just because they're going to give him a new bag of cash, a new contract. That's my only guess there, Phil. All right, Jeremy. Center from the Bills, Connor McGovern. I'd like him. Yeah, 100% Don Burr. Vincent McGovern from Bills. Yes, Dre Day. When Jeremy reports Laporta is on the trading block, I'll take that more seriously. Probably wise words of wisdom there. Silver Server. Lions have a center now with the juice, but remember, not too long ago, they signed this great college center who had been injured, forgot his name, so now they have 2. I'll go with that. Southwest, I saw a Super Bowl weekend. His body language was off. It could be. 81 Lions, baby. Crosby is going to the Ravens. It's already in the works. Ian Rappaport talked about it this morning. Thank you for that. Argentinius, I could see the blood moon, neither too cloudy. I like how this poster tied it into the Lions situation. Well played indeed. Let's see, other people who haven't been on as much. Jeremy, my free agent wish list, Bittino and McGovern on the offensive line, Moff and O on the defense line. See if we can get all them. Coach Rock, in the trade world, it's tough to rob Paul to pay Mary. They have another weak spot on the team. There is not too many golf for Stafford trades, first rounders included. Probably true. Edge, it was Seth McLaughlin that they signed. Yes, correct. Now you got a little bit more depth. Phil Broski, not in the chat, but I know he's watching. Join us, Broski. You all are welcome here. Yes, it's been a long time. I think since basically right after the Lions beat the Bears to end the regular season. Christian, now we need to get a safety to cover running back till Turkey Day. Okay. Bears, look what he did for McBride. All right. Let's see. Motor City Paulie. We come out of the demo trade with Tyler Algiers, the same amount of money on the trade books for a running back, 4th and 7th round pick, and we replace Glasgow to save $5 million on his contract. That's a good thought there. All right. Other people haven't been on as much. Big M, sorry, Thomas. Raiders won't bite on that. Not enough capital. Yeah, they're gonna want something pretty significant in return. Let's see. Pound the drums. Win a bloody hex trade. I'll go with that. Exclamation point. Big M gonna miss Monty big time. I think most of us are. Phil, Ant-Man, truly a special guest. He is indeed. Silver Server, Thomas. That was a good one. Give a bunch of 7th rounders. We'll see if we can. Yay. Hey, nothing wrong with a good yay. Brian. Dan, how many of those draft players you talked about are projects? Truly have to stop drafting projects. Yeah, if you may get some though, right? Right, Thomas, Don Burr, Davenport gone. He is. The resurrection. Everyone says John Macron, then click bait King of Detroit. Is that true? I'll leave that to you guys to advise. I don't know. I haven't seen his content. Bill, we all like Monty, but it seems like Brad made a good move. The line man that he got might do really well under Hank Fraley. Yeah, hopefully he can coach him up and develop him, right? All right, Bo, happy birthday, by the way. The draft picks we got are more important than the player we got. That could be. Southwest, Brandon are upsetting me, beginning to look like idiots. Martinez, agreed. Anthony, Don Burr, Pierce, I think Pacheco will be a lion, not explosive, only 27. You know he's the second here and runs hard as heck. I'll take that. Dennis, we're going to have to throw Pierce a huge party. There you go. Christian, Gibbs, Campbell, Branch, Laporta, re-sign in that order. Don't make any of them number one paid dude. Their spot when they sign them, maybe Gibbs. I think Campbell's going to, who knows on any of them, but Gibbs and Campbell definitely have some possibilities. Vincent, Davenport is free agent. They only signed 1-year deal. Correct with that. Doggone, I thought Brad did good on Monty's return. The trade happening was obvious. All right. Phil, Sailors is a very good running back, and Baki is a question to be answered. That's probably a good way to word it. Johnny Gas Sports, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Happy Tuesday. Back at you, Queen Mary. Good morning, Johnny Gas. Rolando, as a team, we're going to regret trading Diamante. It could be accurate. Let's see, Thomas. Don Burr, 100% on Pacheco, but what do we pay him? He's going to want money, Monty cash. That will be Super Bowl winning teams. Cash will be the issue with him. Exclamation point. So great thought, but he ain't coming here. Fair enough. All right, Christian. There's no depth because Brad overpays the starters. It could be J.K. Pierce, the affirmative, laughing out loud. Extreme shaft. Glad Anthony doesn't run the Lions. Martinez, Brad Holmes needs contracts 101. See if we can get him there. Christian, yep, exclamation point. Big M, can Pacheco pick up a blitz? That I don't know. I haven't watched him enough to really know that. Don Burr, it's getting a big bat. All right, we'll get a big bat and go on the attack. Let's see, Pierce, Big M, he is a good enough blocker. All right, Thomas, Monty was a huge jump in talent versus Williams. No comparison. I'll go there. As Pacheco sounds like a Pokemon character. Could be. Don Bird, Thomas Pacheco isn't getting a big bag. He was injured a few times last year. Sounds like a lion to me. Houston's offensive line is horrific. I'll go there. Tyler's Hop. Yep. All right. Let's see. Dennis Anthony is so correct. Big M. I agree. TM. Happy that Monty will be the main back in Houston. He laid it out there while he was a Lion. Nothing but respect for Monty. I think that's very well said. Don Burr 2.0. Lion Dog, what do you got? Kenneth Walker, $2.1 million last year. D-Money, $8.5 million this year. Sign him for same or less. Yeah, I think he's going to get a significant boost, especially being the Super Bowl MVP. James Conner would be a good replacement. See if you can go get him. He's familiar with the OC. This is accurate. Very good point there. Martinez, hello, Big M, and thanks, exclamation point. I just didn't like how Monty got treated all around here in the D. Glad he said Detroit will hold a special place in his heart. Yeah, it sounds like he liked it, but you know what? Unfortunately, it's come to an end. All right, guys, I got to go out and get out of here, get ready for work, all that kind of life stuff. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you'd be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you guys on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir. Would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? How Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?